I have a question for you. Is playing badminton embarrassing? Now, the reason I want to ask you this is because recently, Jeremy from Singapore, hi Jeremy, came to Shaman to do a week of training, and he brought up this topic, and I agree with him, but I'd like to kind of know what you think about this, because maybe it's a culture thing and maybe it's an age thing. But Jeremy is also in his 40s, as I am, and he was saying that it's a little embarrassing to admit that you are training badminton, that people don't quite understand. Whereas if you're in your 40s and you're going to go on a golf weekend or a ladies' tennis holiday or a yoga retreat, everyone will be very supportive and, oh, great, that sounds fun, have a good time. But if you tell somebody that you're going to go play badminton for a week or train badminton, the reaction is usually like, really? Badminton? I don't think it's just badminton. I think there's some other sports. I think if a 40-year-old was going to go play American football, people would say, you're crazy. So it's not just badminton, but badminton has a lot of older fans and a lot of older people that are very dedicated to the sport, like me, and that are totally obsessed with the sport, like me. And in my life, I have gotten a little flack for being so into badminton. People love to make fun of me, not only because I'm obsessed with the sport and I talk about it all the time, but oftentimes there is kind of a, aren't you a little too old for that? We very much admire children that are dedicated to the sport. Even older kids, 18, 19, 20 in college, if you're really good at a sport and you play on the sports team, your family's very proud. Your friends talk about it all the time. Oh, he's going places. She's going to be a big star. But I guess the age is probably around 28 or 29, where if you're still really dedicated to the sport, there's obviously no chance to be a pro because basically in every sport, pros, you have to start young and you have to get in young. After closer to age 30, I think people start questioning should they continue playing badminton? I think societies kind of expect you in your later 20s, it's time to focus on a job, it's time to focus on a family, and it's time to let hobbies like playing a sport go to the wayside. I will admit, Chinese culture, I don't feel a lot of embarrassment from the Chinese culture because there are a ton of people in their 30s and 40s that are very dedicated to badminton. But especially being an American and being in a kind of international community as I'm an expat in a foreign country, I feel like people from a lot of European countries and America, they're the ones that kind of try to make me feel embarrassed. I don't mean to say that they try to mock me or anything, but they're the ones that kind of act like it's a little ridiculous. And as a result, I feel like maybe I should be embarrassed about it. Maybe it's not cool to be 42 and playing badminton every day. And why do I give up time with my friends and hanging out and having fun to play a sport that I can never have a career in? Also, there's a lot less opportunity for older players. When I went back to America a couple years ago, I did a training camp at Boston Badminton, which was really cool, but I was the only adult. The other oldest kid was 13 years old. So it was 6 to 13-year-olds and then me. And some of these kids were better than me, Some of these kids had been training for a longer time than me, even though they were so young. And obviously, adults have different needs and adults have different abilities. After the third day, I was incredibly sore, so much so that I couldn't sit down at break time because I was afraid I couldn't stand up again. And meanwhile, these kids are running around. And this one girl, the oldest girl, I asked her, I was like, oh, you sore today? And she was like, I guess. She wasn't at all. And I was close to death. I can handle it because I love badminton so much that I just want to train. I don't care who I play or train with. I just want to do it. But there's not a lot of things for adults. There's not a lot of training camps that focus on adults because we think adults don't care that much about a sport. But as I'm learning with badminton, because you guys are, writing great comments and sending me emails, there's a lot of us that are older than 28 that love badminton. And there's a lot of us that dedicate most of our nights to playing badminton. And it's kind of a shame that we're made to feel embarrassed. So that's why I decided to start the China training camp and kids are not allowed. It's only for adults because I think adults do need that, you know? Like, it's very important to me and in my life. Even calling myself an athlete, I've been made fun of. When I started my Facebook page, please join, by the way, some of my friends laughed at me because I classified it as athlete. And they laughed at me and they said, oh, you're an athlete? What else am I? Like, I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not incredibly fit. I don't have, you know, trainers and some special diet. But Badminton Becky is an athlete, but I got laughed at and I did feel a little embarrassed and I did think about changing it. What should I change it to? Like maybe entertainer? But then I realized like, no, like I'm going to embrace this title of athlete, but it has taken a little bit of courage, you know, to admit so openly. So because of this channel and this like community that's being created, I want to ask you guys, I know subscribers are from all over the world. So is this something that is maybe just, I feel more like an American, or is it in your country and your culture too? And do you like, how old are you? If you're an older athlete, do you sometimes find yourself not telling people about badminton? Or do you find yourself, when you tell someone about badminton, do you find that maybe you're a little embarrassed or they laugh at you? So I just do these videos because I want to find a community, and I'm like, you know, we're finding a little community and we're creating community, and I just want to see if I'm crazy or if you guys have some of these feelings too. So please write a comment below and let me know. And I hope, you know, my confidence and courage rubs off on you, and your confidence and courage definitely rubs off on me. So I hope together we can encourage ourselves as older athletes to not be ashamed and not be embarrassed, even though sometimes society wants us to. Get out there, keep playing badminton, unembarrassing, and let me know what you think about this. I'm very curious. Okay, thanks. See you next time. Bye.
杀对角，强网再救，连续的下压，好球，这球杀得很坚决。